everybody, crafting journey here. I'm wearing a dress today. Want to see? Look. Da, 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 da. Butterflies. Yeah, I'm off to work, and I figured, what the heck? I'll wear a dress. And my pride hat. I'm going to call this my pride hat. Yeah, because it has like all the colors, you know, since it's Pride Month. Yes. So I pulled out a color to do today. I'm starting a new trial today. I'm so excited. This is a good one, guys. This is a good one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. What's going on with me? Well, I woke up with a big fat lip. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I bit my lip during my sleep or if I got bit by something. But, oh well. So I will be the only one at work today because everyone else went to this conference downtown. I opted out. I am so antisocial. Ugh, terrible. It just was subject matter that I didn't feel I needed to sit through. And my boss agreed. It really is not related to what I do. So I said, you know, because she was going to close the office, I said, no, I'll hold down the fort. You guys go. And, you know, the girls are like, oh, the food is really good. You should come. I'm like, no. Oh my gosh, I still don't have my watch on. I don't know why I don't put my watch on in the first thing in the morning. I'd get a bunch of steps. And where is my coffee? What is going on here? Okay, be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got my watch and I've got my coffee. Now I can proceed. Oh my God. So today is National, I forgot. Let's find out. Why, I have a terrible memory. National Egg Roll Day. I love egg rolls. So this day was petitioned by these two Vietnamese people that came over as immigrants, and they started making egg rolls because Americans love them. And they grew so fast that they're now this huge company. You can buy their egg rolls in the frozen food section of your grocery store. Their name is Van's Kitchen. So they sponsor this day. But the egg roll, it began as a Chinese American tradition that extended to these Vietnamese immigrants. But I love egg rolls. So my stepmom, she was Filipino. She's, well, I would say she still is, but she's deceased. She taught me how to make egg rolls, and it's a little tedious. Not difficult, just tedious, because then you got to first chop up everything that you're going to put into the egg roll, and then cook the meat if you're going to put meat into the egg roll. And then you have to roll the egg rolls, and then you have to fry the egg rolls. But what she would do is she would make a very large batch, and then she would freeze them. When she would come to visit for me with me, she would make a huge batch of them for me to have in my freezer, and I could just take them out and thaw them and reheat them. Oh, or fry them up again, which is what I did. I kind of just put them in a little fry pan and made them crisp again. So good. Oh my gosh. She would put ground meat, cabbage, carrots, all this yummy stuff, but she would chop it up really finely, you know, and dip them in soy sauce. Delicious. Now, a lot of people like, you know, shrimp in their egg roll. I'm not a seafood person, so I mean, do y'all like egg rolls? What do you like in your egg roll? Or do you like the spring roll, which is just vegetables? I like the ones my stepmom used to make me, because they had that ground meat in it. It was so good, so good. Now I'm going to get all my alerts. Every time somebody sends out a message, it comes over my phone, which I don't really mind. It's kind of cool. So yesterday during physical therapy, I found the area of the watch that measures your the time that you spend on the bike. So I turned it on, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. So it just kept going. I think I finally paused it. I still don't know how to turn it off, but it's paused at like 43 minutes. Now, granted, I only did 10 minutes on the bike, but I gotta say, I am so proud of everybody out there that's doing this step challenge. And there are people that out there that did not sign up, but they're still counting their steps, and they're very encouraged by what we're doing, and they're very motivated. And this really means a lot to me that I was able to bring this to you guys and get you guys moving. Now, if I could just motivate myself. So here's what I think I'm going to do today. I'm going to bring my swimsuit to work, and after work, I'm going to go to the Y. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I want you to hold me accountable. Like tomorrow or later today, you're going to say, did you go? So, and the answer should be yes, right? I'm going to go to the Y. I want to swim in the pool for a little bit. Now, that doesn't count as steps, but I figured it would be good for me. Because I got to get rid of some of this weight. Good gravy. I am like a big tub of lard right now. I know. That's what I feel like. But I just don't feel like adjusting my diet, which is terrible. I eat ice cream and, oh God, yesterday. You know what my favorite food is? My favorite dessert is those Hostess snowballs. I love those things. So yesterday, of course, I went into the grocery to buy ice cream and found the snowballs. So, of course, I had to buy a package because these ones were blue. So I bought a package of these snowballs. But I only ate one. I put the other one away for tonight. I know. It's progress, not perfection. Stop laughing. No judgments. Okay, one thing at a time. We're going for the steps now, okay? All right. And gosh darn, it's been so hot. Oh my word, it's been hot. Yeah. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. Okay, let's start the new trial. New trial, new notebook. I used up the old notebook. Yeah. How about that? Oh, and before I get started, two things. Okay, the mystery diamond painting matchups are now in the Facebook group. So find your partner. If you're having trouble finding your partner, I host this with Mickey Sunshine Creates. Get a hold of Mickey Sunshine. Her name on Facebook is Michelle Stewart. Get a hold of her. Let her know that you're having trouble getting hold of your partner. See if she can help you out. Yeah. And the other thing is I'm going to be participating in a collab. Well, it's not really a collab. I said no collabs this year. This is a stitch along. Shalene, she is the coloring book Nook, is going to be starting a stitch along in her on her channel. So I will put a picture of the stitch along. It's going to be Oh Christmas Tree. Now, the suggested color is olive green for this entire tree. Well, I'm gonna use the thread that I have and just bling this thing. I'm gonna make sure all the decorations are in a different color, and it'll be fun. I think it'll be really fun. And there's a bunch of us signed up. Props out there to you, Danielle, for coming up with this idea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, it was Danielle's idea. She doesn't have a channel, but we're going to support her. There's a hashtag that goes along with it. I will put that here on Instagram so you can post your progress. This starts September 1st, 2021. I will put a link down in the description. You can buy this in two different places. So I'll put both of those places down in the description. Find out which one has the better shipping price for you. Yeah, so you can order the pattern. Woohoo! Yeah. So those are the two things. All right, time for Judge, Jury, and Journey. So this is the case of the murder of Dan Markel. Now, Dan Markel was an FSU law professor, Florida State University law professor, which is Florida State University has a very prestigious law school. And he was a professor there, and that is located in Tallahassee, Florida. Now this, it sounds pretty kind of run of the mill, oh, it's, just another murder case. Oh no, this one has a lot of intrigue in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this trial the FSU Law Professor Trial. FSU Law Professor Murder Trial. I will put, as I always do, I'll start a playlist. If you've missed any of my other trials, they are all in playlist on my channel. You can go back and listen if you missed one of the episodes. That's where you would find them. They're all playlisted. So this playlist will be called FSU Law Professor Murder Trial. So here's what happens. Now, let me tell you who's on trial. Well, no, I'm not going to tell you who's on trial yet because we're going to get to that. But anyway, at 11 a.m. on July 18th, 2014, this murder occurs. Now, the 2014, you're like, whoa, that's an old case. It is an old case, but it didn't go to trial until 2019, early 2020. I don't know the exact date of the trial. I'll look it up, but they weren't wearing a mask or anything. But it did take a very, very long time for this thing to, because there's a lot of pieces. It's a huge puzzle. There's a lot of pieces to it. It took the police forever to put all those puzzle pieces together and figure this out. Mr. Greger, one of the neighbors, he's sitting in his living room. He and his wife, and they're on their computer, but their living room faces the front window, and looking out across the street. So they hear this loud bang at 11 a.m. that day, and so he says, I'm going to go see what that was. So he goes outside and he sees what he believes to be a Prius vehicle backing out of Dan Markell's driveway, who lived right across the street. So he sees this vehicle backing out of the driveway and leaves, and he sees Dan Markell's vehicle in the garage, and he sees Dan in the car. But he figures, he's just gonna be backing out and going to work. So he goes back into his house, Mr. Krieger does. But then a few minutes later, he looks out the window and he sees that Dan Markell's vehicle is still in the garage, and he's like, well, maybe I better go investigate. So he walks across the street, and to his horror finds that Dan Markell is still in the car. He has been shot in the head, but he's still alive. So he runs back home. I guess he didn't have a cell phone. Runs back home, calls 911. They rush him to the hospital. He lived for about 14 hours. He lived about 14 hours before he passed away. His injuries were not survivable. So Dan Markell that morning had taken his two sons to daycare, and then he had gone to this premier gym that he was a member of to work out, and he was just coming home from that workout. Now, in addition to this neighbor calling 911, there was another call to 911. Dan Markell, at the time of the murder, was on his cell phone talking to someone, and he said, hold on a minute, there's someone that just pulled into my driveway that I don't recognize, and then the phone goes dead. So this guy calls 911, and so now we know that whoever shot Dan Markell was a stranger to him. He did not know them. So the police go about and they pull surveillance footage from all over Tallahassee to see if they can figure this out. And they did get a lot of surveillance footage from around the gym around that time that day. And they see on the footage this Prius that had been described to them by the neighbor. sitting outside the gym. And it took them 2 years to piece all this surveillance footage together, cell phone records. But after, and I'm giving you the cliff notes because this is all going to come out in evidence. This trial lasts about 10 days. But it took them 2 years to piece all this together. They finally figure out that there's two men in this vehicle, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. And they were able to link them to the murder through cell phone records, through all the surveillance footage. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dan Markel's ex-wife, Wendy Adelson, they had just divorced. Their divorce was finalized, but they were still arguing. They were both attorneys, so they were filing all these motions, and she wanted to take her two boys and move to South Florida, where the rest of her family was. And he petitioned the court to prevent her from doing that, and the court granted his petition. So she was upset, and her family was upset. Her mother, her father, they were all upset because they wanted her in South Florida with him. So they had all these plots to piss off Dan Markel. They were going to, this was an entirely Jewish family. He was Jewish, they were Jewish, everybody was Jewish. They were going to raise the kids as Catholics just to piss him off. That's a heck of a thing to do, right? And then you'll find out as the evidence unfolds that Wendy's brother Charles, who owns a dental office, and he's a dentist down in South Florida, he's also involved. So what happens is when they finally decide they're going to arrest these guys, by the time they decide they're going to arrest Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia, Luis Rivera is already in jail for racketeering. Both of these guys are huge gang members. They're Sigfredo Garcia is like king of the Latin kings down in Miami. He's like they call him the primero of the Latin kings. And Luis Rivera is very high up in the organization as well. This is a criminal organization that these two belong to. But so he was in jail. He got a 12-year sentence for racketeering. So he's already in federal prison. So he decides after some negotiation that he's going to turn state's evidence. So in exchange for a 19-year sentence for second-degree murder of Dan Markel, he agrees to spill the beans, tell the whole story to the jury. So we're going to hear that. However, the sentence was set to run concurrently with his 12-year federal sentence. So essentially, for this second-degree murder of Dan Markel, he gets an additional 7 years. So he'll be out, and he can get gain time. He'll be out in no time, before he's 50 years old probably. So, that was a heck of a deal, I think. So anyway, he testifies that he was hired by Sigfredo Garcia, or he's expected to testify that he was hired by Sigfredo Garcia, that and Sigfredo Garcia was hired by the wife, or the mother of his children. Now, at the time they were broken up, they weren't dating anymore, but she was dating Charles Adelson, the brother of Wendy Adelson, the ex-wife of the victim. So the plot thickens. And then after the murders occur, all three of these individuals, they're buying motorcycles, cars, she goes and gets a boob job, so yeah. And there's going to be allegations that she was hired by Charles she was put on his payroll, but she didn't do anything. There's going to be witnesses come in and say she had no role in the dentistry, in the dental office. She never even came in there, but she was getting a paycheck. Let me see what else. Rivera was paid $35,000 for the murder. So now here's what is going to make this pretty interesting. And the girlfriend of Sigfredo Garcia, her name is Catherine Magnanua. So the defendants in this case, because Rivera is going to testify against, Sigfredo Garcia is a defendant, and Catherine Magnanua. However, they have different attorneys. So we had an opening from the prosecution, then we get an opening from Sigfredo Garcia's attorney, then we get an opening from the attorney for Catherine Magnanua. And they were both really good lawyers. I mean, they were both Latin, very passionate openings. So I have a feeling, the Latin king hired the best is what happened. Or these may be regular defense attorneys for the whole organization. I don't know. So the defense attorney for Garcia gets up in his opening and he argues that the real target in this case is the Adelson family. And interesting enough, none of them have ever been charged. Wendy, his ex-wife, has never been charged with anything. Charles has never been charged with anything. The mother, the father, they're all involved, but they're never charged with anything, at least not as of the time of this trial. So you're going to hear evidence that these guys made 2 trips to Tallahassee. On the first trip, they were supposed to murder Dan Markel, but they never get the opportunity. It just doesn't arise. So they return back to Miami, and then they make a second trip 6 weeks later. This is when the murder occurs. So the defense attorney's argument is, why in the world would his client, Sigfredo Garcia, want to help Charles Adelson, who's the lover of the woman he's in love with? Why would he do that? I mean, that makes no sense. He's in love with this woman. She's the mother of his children. She's his wifey. He's not going to help the man she's sleeping with. Okay, so that's his argument. Also that he wouldn't carry a gun because he's a felon. Well, I'm not buying that. And that, he's the head of this criminal organization. If he really wanted to kill someone or have someone killed, he would just call someone else in the criminal organization up in Tallahassee and have it done. He wouldn't go up there and do it himself. Okay. And then he says we're going to hear testimony that Sigfredo Garcia wasn't even in the vehicle on the first trip. All right. Then we get the opening from the defense attorney for Catherine Magnanua. And she's really good. She's very passionate. She's like, this is ridiculous. My client didn't do a thing. She is innocent. The prosecution is desperate. They need to put someone on trial for this murder. This is a hard-working, strong woman just raising her children, trying to make a living. She has a bachelor's in health administration. And she says the real perpetrators are the Adelson family, and why aren't they being tried for this? And so, I mean, she made a lot of really good arguments, and she explains that, if Catherine Magnanua was really involved, why did she make no attempts to hide, like, her large cash deposits and other things like that? And apparently, the prosecution is going to put bank records for for Catherine Magnanua into evidence to show she was making large cash deposits. Well, the explanation for that is expected to be that she had 3 jobs that paid cash. She worked the club scene. She was like one of those bottle drink girls in the exclusive section where she made huge cash tips. So that's why she had a lot of cash. And that she really was working for Charles Adelson. She, she didn't go into the office, but she was getting a paycheck and she was doing a job. Now, I'm interested to hear what that job was. And she said, that this whole thing is nothing but speculation against her client. So that is the opening statements of the 3 attorneys. Now, I will tell you that the judge in this case is old. Oh my God. He looks like he's about to keel over. And very, very strict. I'm like, one of the attorneys made an objection, and I think he said it twice because I guess he didn't think the judge heard him. And the judge says, you only need to make your objection once. I mean, like he was yelling at him, like this guy. He tells the jury, the judge says, listen, I'm really strict. I'm known for being really strict. You're going to see that I'm really strict. So at least he admits he's really strict. So I expect we're going to see some fireworks in that respect. So, I imagine that he runs a pretty tight ship in his courtroom. So this is going to be an interesting trial for sure. All right, checking on the time. Apparently the kiddies are not, they were having so much fun in the craft room last night. They got in here while I brought them in here to show everybody during my live last night. And so they stayed in here and they were all over the place playing. This was like Disneyland or something for them in here. Hi, Tootsie. Oh, Tootsie's over here laying down. I don't know if you can see her. She's laying down over here. She's a good girl. You're a good girl. Yeah. I don't know if they scratched her or something. She's being a little timid today she wants to go see him if I go with her. So I don't know what's going on with that. We shall see. Wow, there's a lot of this color in this painting. Or in this section, I should say. So, let's do this day in history. I actually picked out a really good one. I remember what it was. So, this guy, he's delivering Krispy Kreme donuts to convenience stores. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He parks his truck in front of this convenience store and leaves the back of the truck open, leaves the keys in the vehicle, and he goes inside to deliver the Krispy Kreme donuts. Well, these 2 individuals, Clint Messina and Rose Hawk, steal the vehicle. And they don't close the doors to the back of the truck. So the driver comes out, realizes that his vehicle is gone, calls the police. The police find the vehicle and start chasing it. So now there's a 12-mile chase through this Slidell, Louisiana. And donuts are flying out of the back of this truck onto the police cars. So the truck finally stops. The 2 people, they get out and they run, and then the police catch Rose, but they don't catch Messina. Messina gets away. So on this day in history, June 10th, 2002, Messina is actually arrested and charged in the attempted murder of a police officer after driving into a patrol car while attempting to flee from sheriff's deputies for a totally unrelated thing. So when they pull him over, they arrest him for this, they realize that there's a warrant out for him, that this is the donut guy. Because, you know, when this happened, like the late night talk show hosts were all over it. They were like, this was fodder for months for them. You know, now the police have to stake out all the donut shops to catch the donut thief. It was just a lot of fun for the comedians. And it's funny. I mean, can you imagine like these donuts flying out the back of this truck? I think that's hilarious. Anyway, guys, I am off to work. Gotta go to work, 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 work. I'm doing another yarn giveaway. There's the link right there. It's not just yarn this time. No, I'm also giving away a $25 gift card to Treasure Studios Arts. So you're going to want to get in on this, whether you want the yarn or not. You're going to want the gift card. And it's some pretty cool yarn, I got to say. So, guys, I'm off to work. Then I get to come home and play with my kitties. Oh no, you guys got to remind me. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go swimming. Yes, I'm going to, as soon as I turn the camera off here, I'm going to go get a towel, get my swimsuit, put it in my pack for work. I'm going to do this. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Love you all. Take care. Let me know what you think of the new trial. Okay? I'll see you all tomorrow in the morning show. Bye.